So much, Darcy.
There you go.
I'm so excited to be here with you guys tonight. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedules. I hope this is going to be a really helpful workshop because, like when I first started sharing my art on social media, I really had no idea what I was doing. And I feel like it took so much trial and error, which is good. I learned a lot that way. Um, but I really want to share today some strategies and tools and things that I think will be helpful for creatives of all types or personal brands or small businesses just to get that momentum and visibility and to really make the most out of your presence online so that you don't have to worry about going viral or you can get amazing opportunities without having a lot of followers because that's totally a thing if you don't want to be a full-time content creator. Um, so Let's get started. So, just to go over some goals of the workshop, like I kind of said before, um, we're all creative. And so, I think the most important thing is like you want to make content that feels authentic to you. You want to feel like yourself when you're showing up online, like not like you're performing or, that you have to put on this alternate persona. And the whole point of content creation, I feel, is that every single piece of it is a building block in your foundation. So again, you're not trying to have each piece go viral. You're really just trying to lay one brick in your foundation and then another and another and another. And over time, all those bricks build a foundation and a house. And that's how you tell your story. So you have an amazing thing to point people back to future clients and customers, collaborators, galleries, whoever. So I want to also help you guys streamline your content creation process and just simplify it as much as possible, and figure out ways that you can use social media to support your marketing strategy rather than like making it your entire marketing strategy. Because that I've tried it that way and it doesn't it doesn't work so good. So we're going to also look at analytics and all the things. So I just want to first start by, to me, the most exciting and fun part, especially for creatives, is this idea of world building. So, world building is a marketing strategy that so many brands use, huge brands, because the whole idea with this is that you're giving the viewer a experience of being part of your world. And as creative people, we kind of have that world going naturally already. We're drawn to certain colors and music styles and textures and words and ways of expression. And so I think it's such a powerful way for creatives to use in their marketing strategy. And so I just included on the screen some examples from different creators who I think do this really well. Of course, there's millions and billions out there who do amazing. Um, but basically, what you get to do and what I think is so exciting about is it you get to design this world based on all the things you like. So your interests, things you care about, your aesthetics, like I mentioned before, and your personal story, how you got started, what is life like for you now. So making this visual identity, there's just a couple things that we can think about. And like, I would encourage you, you don't have to write this down now, but like maybe later or, next week or whatever, go back to this if you want to and write it down because we're going to be building like a little roadmap that I did for myself. And it was so helpful. Every time I want to make content, I can just go back and reference it. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what this is all about. So, what do you want people to feel when they're on your page? You can talk about your inspirations. Maybe you really love, current trends in pop culture, or maybe like the Renaissance time is your, sweet spot. The colors you like, the fonts, do you have a more like modern feel, edgy, more classic? The type of music, of course, always sets the mood for whatever it is that you want to share. And then just your life, like the things about you that make you you. And I think bonus points, honestly, if the things contradict each other a little bit, because that's where it's really interesting. Like, for example, I do big, colorful, pretty abstract floral paintings. And it's like, okay, very delicate and feminine and pretty. But I also share on my stories how I'm learning to ride a motorcycle. And those things like don't really go together, but they do, because it's part of the person. And I think that will always be infinitely more interesting than like, companies or just brands that have to pretend that to have a story, we as people have a story already. So the more you can tell that and like the more authentic you can be with that is just really going to resonate, with people in a beautiful way. So, one of the main things, and again, these are little things you can like write down now, later, whenever, is to get really clear on what you want for your art. Like, what's your goal regardless of social media? Are you a visual artist and you want to be in galleries, or do you want to sell your art online? Or maybe you don't really care so much about selling your art, you just want to see it in, beautiful spaces. If you're a poet, do you want to publish your work? Do you want to do live poetry readings, dancers, musicians, performances? Like, or do you want to get booked for gigs or just do things because you love them? Endless, endless, endless things, right? And so I think it's really powerful to write those things down for yourself so you know like exactly what you want because revisiting that will help you get so much clearer on why you're doing what you're doing when you do make a social media post. So the next thing, and this can be a little tricky sometimes, like as a creative, because we're talking about a target audience. Who do you make the work for? And I think you should make it for yourself first, right? I will always, always believe that. And so you make it for yourself first, but then you're sharing it with the world and you want people to see it. So who are those people who you want to see the work? And it's kind of cool to think about it in that way because then you get to be really, really intentional about the way that you're sharing it because you know that it's going to resonate with this kind of person. So a lot of brands and strategists actually come up with characters almost like they name them, they give them an age. Do they have kids? Do they have grandkids? Do they, have a career in this or that? What do they do in their free time? Like think about, you don't have to make these personas if you don't want to, but think about like what does your ideal customer value? What do they care about? What do they want to feel? And that's how you can really connect with them and make sure that, yes, they're going to love your art or your business or your music, whatever it is, but also the way you're speaking to them will really, really solidify that connection. And so that's a big piece of the puzzle when we're talking about social media because it will just help you. It'll just become second nature that you know exactly how you're speaking to your audience. So the third thing is kind of what I just mentioned, messaging. And that goes with how you want the people to feel, but really how are you speaking, right? If like a high-end department store, for example, may speak differently than like a adorable, amazing mom and pop coffee shop, right? Like they have a different tone and a different way of speaking, and they're speaking to people in different ways. And so I think it's really good to think about in your messaging, right? Because we're going to be writing captions, we're going to be making video topics, you're going to be sending emails, whatever it is. So, how do you talk to your person, that ideal client, customer? How do you want to make them feel? So, that's another thing that I'd love for you to write down at some point on your roadmap. And then value. What value are the people getting from seeing your page beyond, of course, the fact that they like your work and connect with it, right? And selfishly, like we consume content kind of selfishly, right? Like when we're scrolling online, we want to know, okay, do I like this? How is this good for me? Am I learning something? Is it funny? Am I feeling inspired? So the three kind of main types of content are educational content, right? Maybe you're teaching about your technique, you're doing a tutorial, entertaining, just fun, cool, funny stuff to watch. I feel like Red Bull is kind of a good example. Their content is so crazy. Like they have people, skiing down ridiculous hills or like jumping out of airplanes because they drank the Red Bull, right? And so that's like they're an entertaining brand to watch or inspiring. Maybe that is more your vibe. And I feel like for creatives and, artists, like it definitely is a great way to go. People love to be inspired. They want to see cool things and, you're doing cool things. So like just share that, like share even more of that. But if you can, like, know and kind of get super clear on that value of what you are giving your audience and your customers and clients, it'll just be so much easier when we do get into that actual content creation process. Okay, so we just talked about a whole bunch of things. We talked about your world and we talked about your audience and their world and what that looks like. And so merging those two together, writing down all of those things, that gives you this roadmap. And like I said, if you physically write it on a piece of paper or however you take notes and keep it as a thing to look back at every time, it's just going to keep reaffirming every time you want to make content. And I promise it will come in handy so, so, so much because the whole thing about making content, we're going to get into this in a minute, is like you don't want to be sitting down every time thinking, what do I post? And feeling like you're reinventing the wheel. You want it just to have this kind of flow and momentum that you're just picking up right where you left off and you already know what's coming next. And it's just so much easier. And like you save so much time and you can get back to your art and doing the things you want to do. So, as we mentioned, possibly in a previous slide, content pillars. So these are kind of the categories that your content can fall into that will be so, so, so easy for you to start sharing about. So I kind of broke them down into topics, like they're grouped and bunched like as little topics, but each one of these individual bullet points can be its own content pillar. So basically, what that means is you're just looking to take, let's say, three or five of them. Say one day you'll share about works in progress that you have going on right now. Maybe another part is you'll share something from your story, right? How you got to where you're going. And then another content pillar for the week can be new work offers. Hey, I have a new print for sale. I have a book coming out, whatever it may be, right? And so just choose three to start. You can, of course, add more later, but it's like easier just with three. Rotate through those. So each piece of content, say, okay, this is going to be somewhere within this world of process. The next one is going to be somewhere within the world of my story. The next one is going to be somewhere within the world of an offer. And so rotating through those, not in a way that's making you feel tied down at all, but rotating through those and having those content pillars ready to go, you know what you're posting already. And the topics change, of course, but you kind of know, and so it makes it easier. And just one other thing I do want to say is there's like the 80-20 rule. So you don't always want to be like selling in every single post being like, hey guys, I have a new work, go buy it. You want to, do a little bit of that, but also give people the value that we talked about before. Okay, so, all right, cool. Um, hold on, give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. I feel like I know I didn't skip something. Never mind. Okay, so I should start by saying this. There are many, many, many social media platforms that you could be on, but we're going to start just talking about Instagram. But before we do that, I just want to ask super quick, does anybody have any questions about any of that stuff we just talked about, like the branding kind of things, the like building your roadmap? It was a lot of information, and if you go write it down, it will be a lot more. But I just want to take a quick second. If anybody has a question, like you can totally unmute yourself and just shout it out.
Is there a certain amount of time that you should give yourself to post something? Like how regularly you should post to stay in interaction with the audience?
Totally, yeah. So we're gonna get like more specifically into that a little bit later, but I think the main thing is it's really just about being consistent. So if your consistency is one time a week, totally fine. If your consistency is twice a day, like more power to you, but totally fine. The algorithm really just wants to know, it just wants to see like a repeatable pattern from you and to know that you are consistently showing up. right? And so, like I said, that timing, the frequency, that consistency can look different for everybody. But as long as you keep doing it and find a pattern that you can keep up with, then you're fine. It doesn't have to be like a set specific amount of times per week. That's a good
Okay,
question.
thank you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So yes, like I said, we're gonna be looking mostly at Instagram. Um, when you're scrolling, there's a lot of accounts you follow and accounts you don't follow and ads and all the things, right? So what I really like to do is when I'm scrolling, I like to add certain creators to my favorites list. So when you're scrolling through your feed, these, can you guys see the little blue dot that I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Um,
Yeah, we can see, I can see it.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure because I'm like pointing at things. I'm like, wait, I hope they can see. Okay, cool. So these little dots, like if you hit them, this menu pops up and it lets you add people to your favorites. And you can add up to 50 accounts. I really, really recommend that because then you don't get caught like doom scrolling and you don't have all that extra noise sometimes. So to find your favorites and your just following list, because Instagram obviously is no longer just people you follow, you just hit this Instagram icon at the very top of your app and it breaks down these two categories for you and then it gives you a star like when you're favorited a person so you know, oh, this is my favorite who popped up. So these three accounts I just pulled up because I think they do a really pretty job of putting a grid together and they're different and inspiring and these are just some of my favorites. So I really encourage you to like look, find some favorites, figure out like why are they your favorites, you know? Do you like the way they talk? Do you like just the art? Do you like, what is it that you like about them? So on Instagram, we're going to talk about three main types of content. Now, there's, like I said, a bunch of different platforms, and depending on what you do, if you're a writer, you can use Instagram, of course, but there's also other platforms. But I think Instagram is the one that all brands have, all businesses have. So you really need to be on there, at least in some way, to just have that foot in the game, right? And have that presence. So when people or whoever look you up, they can find you. So, the main things that we're going to talk about, like I said, are stories, carousels, and reels. So, stories, they're just basically shown to your followers. Um, it's, a quick video or photo, it disappears in 24 hours. So it's good for like if you want to share unpolished, sort of behind the scenes look at what you're doing or your life, or like maybe you're going on a walk with your dog and you don't really want to put that on the main grid, but that's a cool part of your life, right? And like we said, we're building out this whole world. So you can share that in your stories, and that's a great place to do it. Carousels are honestly kind of my favorite right now. And Instagram is pushing carousels, which I'm so happy about. And I think is so good for us creative people because it's just like an easy and amazing way to get yourself in front of more eyes, which is, kind of the goal. Um, so that is on your main grid all the time. It doesn't go away unless you archive it. Um, and it's really good for storytelling. If you want to talk about any type of story, it has a really nice way of letting people sort of guide their own adventure through that story. You can add collaborators as well. And then there's Reels. And Reels are obviously very scrollable, very savable, and shareable, which are all good things. They do generally take a bit more work to put together than a carousel, but it's a really great way to tell your story if that feels good for you. And another good thing, actually, that I'm seeing with Reels is high production, like content is kind of out right now. People are really into just kind of unstaged, more natural moments. So it's like a lot of, you'll see almost FaceTime style videos. It's like if you're just talking to a friend, don't think that you have to be like an amazing cinematographer to have a successful video. Like that's kind of, people want just like the normal, like raw, real, everyday stuff. So for your profile, there's a couple things that I think are really, really important to have. One of them is a way to contact you, right? You want to make that pretty easy and clear besides sending a direct message. a link to your website if you have it, or any sort of other online presence that you'd like people to see, and a clear description of who you are, what you do, who it's for, kind of just like a quick preview that can give people an idea of what they're getting into by looking at your page. And so if they want to follow you, this will be helpful. It'll just be like a quick snapshot, right? Before they scroll your whole page. Um, Location, I think, is also really helpful, and it's good for collaborations, and because then is the person even near me? And I would really also recommend having a consistent profile image across all your related social media platforms. So if you're sharing your art on Instagram and you're sharing it on Facebook and you're sharing it on LinkedIn or YouTube, use the same profile picture because we're all like visual people, right? It's so much easier to see and to recognize, and oh, that's that person. So just like a little tip of what I think is helpful. And some people in their bio, in their description, have a call to action, a CTA. So that's basically maybe if you have a new launch coming out, or if you want people to sign up for your newsletter, tell them in that last line of your bio, click the link for whatever it is that you want to offer. But having that is like just a really good next step to give people, and it's just going to help your connection. Okay,
Um,
cool.
Arabella, can I interrupt for a minute? It's Dorothy.
Yes.
Yeah, there's just a question in the
Oh, it's
chat
fine.
with
Yeah.
regard to the last slide. So I
Uh-huh.
thought I'd just interrupt. Sorry.
No, thank you. Yeah, I can't see the chat, so
No,
please.
yeah, yep. Just a question of where do you find carousels?
Oh, yeah. So to create a carousel, um, this over here is like basically a screenshot of your phone with Instagram. So in the top left, you'll see a plus sign. When you click that, all of these different things pop up. These are all the different things you can do, all the different types of content you can do. And so it says post. Post could be photo or video, but essentially, if you string more than one picture or video together as separate slides, and I'll get into that in a second, it's a carousel just automatically. So that's how you would like find it to create it, but I'm going to show you like the step by step, every single button you need to press to physically create a carousel. So I hope that's going to be helpful. And if it's not, then tell me and I'll answer more questions.
Thank you.
Sure, of course. Um, Okay, cool. So the first thing we're going to talk about in terms of those three types of contents are stories, just because they're like the quickest, easiest, and a lot of the same principles apply. So I think stories are a great way to kind of learn and like test the waters almost to see what does well. It's low effort pretty much, right? You just snap a picture or video and post, and then you see, how do people respond, right? It's cool. You can actually track the analytics on this, which we'll talk about in a second. But okay, so to create a story, you can either, like in the previous slide, you click that little plus icon, or there's a bunch of different ways that you can navigate to from your page. But this right here is basically a screenshot of what you're looking at through your camera when you're going to create a story. So you can either take a photo or a video directly in the app, or I like to take my pictures and videos just on my own in my phone and have them in my camera roll and then upload them. So to do that, this little area right here, you see it's a white square. Basically, that's just going to be whatever your camera roll is, your last taken photos. I guess I took a picture of something bright white. So I would click that and upload it from your camera roll. And I just want to take a second to um, point out a couple different things. If you go up here to this little gear settings icon, you can change the settings on your stories, which can be really helpful. One is every time you post a story, if you want, you can have it automatically saved to your camera roll. Now, that can be super helpful if you want to repurpose that later for content. You don't want to do the same thing twice. You already saved it, right? Which is kind of cool. You can also manage your sharing and viewing access if you want certain people to see your stuff or not see your stuff. And then you can create a close friends list too. you don't have to use that. I don't personally use it, but some people like to have that as stories shared to close friends will only go out to this group of people. Maybe you're posting of something. I follow one girl who's a content creator, and that's everything she posts about is educational, but she's getting married right now. And so she asked her followers, do you want to be on the close friends list to see wedding content? So it can be like for things that are maybe off topic or just genuine fun stuff you want to just share with friends. Um, so that's over here. Once you've uploaded your story or, taken your picture, you can either share it to everybody or share it to your close friends. And then these little icons down the side are a couple things I want to talk about that you can do with your story beyond just having only a photo or only a video. So this text right here, stories and videos and posts perform really well when there is some sort of text on the screen. It just gives viewers like context, right? And an idea of what you're talking about. Um, Here you can select music, which is again cool just to add to the vibe, like we said before. You can download the story. Maybe you don't have it auto saving if you don't want everything saved. But if you're going to download it, that's a really great way to go. And what I would recommend for that, download it before you tag people because you may not want those tags that are not going to be clickable once they're downloaded just as words on the screen, right? So you can see over here, okay, I tagged an account, Finer Works. I tagged a location, Nyack, New York. Um, this means that if somebody is looking up Nyack, New York in Instagram, my story now has a chance to show up on their search or under those things, which is just a cool way to like get more eyes on your work, right? Let's say that I put this together and I'm not quite ready to post it yet. If you click this X after you've done something to it, written text, added a song, whatever, click the X and this will pop up. It says, do you want to discard the media? And you can instead save it as a draft. And this is so, 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 so helpful because if you want to schedule one story a day for a whole week without actually going in and making the story every day, you can just save 7 drafts and then like just literally throw one up every day or just share it later. So it's really, really helpful in that way. If for filters, you can swipe left or right across the screen. It'll add like an automatic filter. There's lots of other features too, but I don't want to get like too crazy with it. Um, so then the only other thing I do want to say is stickers. So that's this little icon here. He looks like a like post-it note that's kind of what folded over with a smiley face. So if you click that icon, all these sticker options are going to pop up. Now, you don't need all of them. There are some important ones. Location, like I said, if you want your post to show up as being location tagged, it's super helpful. Mention. So you can either just type in a tag for somebody, type in a mention at them, or you can click this button to have it mentioned. It will be within a certain style, so it could be either blue or rainbow or like orange text. So you are a little bit more limited with styles this way. Questions and polls are really great for engagement. So let's say you are sewing a pair of pants and you want to know, should I make them bell bottoms or should I make them skinny jeans? And you put up a picture, a mock-up of both of them and ask people, hey, which one do you think? And people get to vote on them and it's fun and it boosts your engagement and it's just a cool, like fun thing to do? Links are really, really helpful. You can copy paste a URL that people can click on in your story that'll be live for that 24 hours. So for that, you click links. That'll bring you up to this box. So you can type in your website, and it's just my website, and then you can customize what that link actually says on the screen. So maybe I don't want somebody to see my full URL, right? Sometimes there's lots of weird numbers and letters, but I want them to just see a cute, simple word with little emojis, and that's it. So then once I hit done, I come over here and I can change the style, but that's essentially how it looks. And it's a clickable link that anyone viewing my story can tap and visit the link from. Countdown, if you're doing like a art drop or a show, performance, that kind of thing. And so after you post your story, if you swipe up on it, you can see who saw it, the analytics, and all different engagement metrics that you can totally dig into. Like another day, it might be a little bit, um, it's you don't really need it, but basically you get to know like, did people like it? Did that story resonate? So, how are you feeling with stories so far? Any questions or are we good?
There is a question in the chat.
Cool.
I find that even my vertical photos are often cut off on the sides. Is there any way to avoid that?
Yes. So you're talking about on like when you post it to are you talking about on stories or on your grid? Because if it's your grid, I am right there with you and it's so annoying and I'm going to tell you exactly how to not have that happen.
This is
Story.
Ruth asked the question. Ruth, do you
Oh,
want to
don't worry.
unmute?
It's the grid on the grid. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
no, it's super annoying and we're going to talk about that. Actually, I think that might be the next slide. Um yes, it is. Perfect timing. Okay, cool. Yes. So oftentimes, like if you're posting a horizontal photo, it will get cut off on the preview grid because Instagram loves to change their ratios. It used to be a square, right? Everything used to be a square, and then they changed it to a 4:5 ratio, and now it's a 4:3 ratio. So not too much of a difference, but to your point, it's like, yes, all the wide photos, anything that's not that exact ratio does get cut off in the preview. So unfortunately, there's no way to change the actual grid itself. But if you, there's a couple things. One, when you're posting, let's say, multiple photos in a carousel, the aspect ratio of your first photo is going to dictate what all the other ones are going to have to be. So if I have a long, skinny photo and as the first one, and I click the second one, maybe the second one was horizontal, but automatically it's going to snap to a long, skinny one because that's what the first one is. Not great, but that's just how it is. A workaround that I like to use when you do have photos like that are just, you're tired of having them cut off. It's another step, but it really is worth taking, I think. If you can put your photo into Canva and make a document on Canva that is the size that it needs to be to show up in your grid. So if it's 4:3, make a 4:3 page on Canva, drag your photo into that. Now you might have, if it's a horizontal photo and a vertical canvas, right? You may have a bar on the top and the bottom, but you can either rock with it or do something cool with it. Maybe you want to put text or add a second photo. But then when you download it, it's going to be downloaded in that 4:3 format that Instagram wants to show you for your main grid. So then you'll be able to put it in and it won't look cut off. You'll be able to see the full width of the photo. You just may have a bar on the top and bottom. But just know that even if you do post a wide photo, um, it only is cut off in that preview, but if somebody were to click on it, they can see the full photo. But I totally hear it's very frustrating that it's not as customizable. Um, so I hope was that helpful at all, Ruth? I hope so.
Yeah, thank you, Arabella. I didn't know that about the aspect ratio on the first image. I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's definitely, it's just one of those parameters that like we have to kind of learn to work within. Um, and yeah, so like I said, you don't have to make everything uh that 3:4 ratio if you don't want to. Um, but so okay, let's pretend like we're building a carousel. So I've selected 1, 2, 3, 4 photos. I click next. And then it brings me to this like editing page where I can really customize like what my carousel is going to be like. So I can either add photos, I can delete them if I want to. You can do photo and video in the same carousel. So each one will be, you just swipe from one to the other. Um, the cool thing with this is that you can rearrange them. You used to be only able to rearrange them within this editing panel. Now Instagram just made it so that you can rearrange the order of your posts after you post. It's the best thing to ever happen. Such a game changer. So this is where you can, add your filters, text overlay, choose your audio. Um, for trending audio, that's one thing I really find so helpful. When you're choosing audio, this little button here, all the audio is going to pop up. Now, to find trending audio, that's going to help your post get more reach, more engagement. So you see this little arrow icon, like pointing up? That means that the audio is trending right now, like it's going up. And it tells you how many reels were made with that audio. This one only has 682 reels. So I kind of like to use reels or audio, sorry, that is on the lower end because as that audio grows, then my content has a chance to grow with it. Versus this song over here, Fine, is also trending. It has 1.5 thousand. So it's already got, a good amount. Some of them have millions. So, I would say if you can try to stay within like under 5,000, that could be a good like sweet spot to grow with it. So you can, after you've selected your song, you can save the song if you want to come back to later. Um, then you can select the portion of the song you want, hit done. And then again, like with stories, hit that X and save as draft, or you can just go right on to posting it.
Arabella.
Yeah.
I've been just started using edits, and I find with the music, I don't know if you have this problem too, like sometimes it won't play at all, or it plays, and then when I go to upload it into my video, it won't upload. Like it seems to be keeping me into like a very select amount of songs that I could choose from.
So you're building it like in the Edits app and you're trying to add it, but then when you download the video, are you downloading the video or are you sharing?
No, before I even got to download. So I've edited my whole video. I'm
Mhm.
ready to add music. I've I'm going through the different selections, and
Mhm.
sometimes I'll hit a selection and it doesn't play at all. And other times it will play, but then when I go to upload it into the video edits, it won't go in.
Hmm.
Um,
That's
and
super weird. Yeah.
yeah, so I'm like, and that's even with a short one. I understand with longer videos, it won't let you upload with a song if it's more than 90 seconds.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so that's not the issue. It's just it's like the links aren't working or something. And I don't know if you've kind of experienced the same thing.
I have experienced that too, and I don't know why it happens either.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's definitely too honestly, I haven't experienced it and I wonder if sometimes the apps are buggy. And you know what I've ended up doing on Instagram for sure, but other apps as well is like just completely deleting the app off my phone and then re-downloading it. And
Okay.
maybe that'll fix it. Because I know you're saying, Christina, like you know that the song is long enough
Yeah,
the video because sometimes like you're saying if it's a 1 minute video and a 10-second song it won't let you
right.
but truthfully that sounds like a bug to me and I'm gonna look into it though because I'm very curious.
Okay, yeah, because like
Try to
one
delete it.
day the songs worked, and then the next day, like even the ones that I had saved, and then
Mhm.
another time I was like trying to preview them and they weren't working at all. So yeah, maybe it's a bug. So I'll
Maybe,
try
yeah.
to
And
re-download it.
in the meantime, I would say as a workaround, download your video without the audio from edits, put
Mm-hmm.
it into Reels, and then add that audio in Reels. It'll
In
let
Reels.
you do
Okay.
that just and see, right? Just see does it
Yeah.
work. I'm curious if that could be some sort of workaround. But yeah, that's
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sorry that was happening, you guys. It's like so frustrating when technology like doesn't do what we want it to do. It's like, what's going on?
There's
Um,
another comment, well, first about the songs. It says sometimes it's due to copyright too. Songs won't be accessible via Instagram. So that's Amanda shared that with us. And also, I just wanted to go back. I'm sorry, there was another comment
sure.
from Pam, and she just asked, is there any reason that you suggest using Canva? By the way, I use Canva all the time, and we use it to make graphics and to edit photos and to make presentations. But go ahead for you can explain how you use it for this purpose.
Yeah, I love Canva. It is the best thing ever. I think this whole presentation I built in Canva, I'm presenting it through Canva. And you can have the free version. You can get so far in the free version, which I think is amazing. But basically, what makes it so good, I think, is one, it's just like the easiest graphic design tool to ever exist. There's no learning curve, essentially, like compared to Illustrator, or any of the other Adobe products. It's like way harder to learn. I don't know how to use those. You can save fonts you like, you can save colors you like, you can reuse templates. So maybe you want to, redo the same post, but just change the background or change the date or change. It's so, 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 so easy. And so, I would just really explore it. I think it's better, in my opinion, for still images than it is for video editing. You can edit videos, but talk about buggy, it will get very buggy and laggy and weird, and you're gonna have to like refresh a million times. So for still images, it's like the best thing ever.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, cool. So we just did how to build our carousel post, right? So now we're gonna share the post. So Once you've once you're done with your edits and you're happy with how it is, we're coming onto this screen, which is basically it's going to let us share it. So you want to put a caption in. What I would recommend is put in words that you think your ideal audience or whoever you want to see your work put in maybe words that they're searching for. So it's called SEO, search engine optimization. That basically just tells Instagram what your post is about. So it knows that, oh, this person who's interested in interior design, you're talking about how to, you know, decorate a room. It knows to connect them to your post. It gives Instagram context on what your post is about because it doesn't read the visuals as much. And so it's just going to help you get in front of more people. We already talked about adding audio. If you've added your audio, it's going to show up here. If you decided, oh, I don't want that song, hit the X and it'll be gone. You can add polls if you want to, like those little voting things that we talked about in stories. If you tag people, that's a really, really great way to just build engagement. So when you hit tag, this is going to pop up and it lets you tap somewhere on the screen to tag someone just regular. It's like me shouting out, your name. Or if I hit collaborate, it's me inviting this person to co-post this post with me. So they get a request, says, hey, Arabella wants to collaborate with you. Do you accept? If they accept, then that post shows up as me and them posted it, and it'll show up on my grid and their grid. Now, if they don't want it on their grid, they can easily remove it from the grid while still being a collaborator. So just if you remove it from the grid, it doesn't mean you won't collaborate. But it's just another really, really great way to connect with other accounts and other people and businesses and things. So that's tagging. Once you've done your tags, you can collaborate with up to 5 people per post, I think, unless it's changed. Then you hit done. Then all these things are fine, right? Add location. Think of a location maybe that, people are gonna want to go to, right? And that does like make sense with where you actually were. I just say that like I live in Valley Cottage. I don't think people are searching up Valley Cottage, but they might be searching Nyack, New York or Hudson Valley, New York. And technically, yeah, I'm close enough. So I can tag one of those instead and get in front of that audience. Over here, more options. this takes you to this right here, which lets you schedule your post, which is such a game-changing time saver for you guys. So once you click this, this message might pop up. Don't even worry about it. Just hit continue scheduling. Basically, it's just saying if you try to share on Facebook at the same time, it's not going to go through, and that's like whatever, it's fine. So hit continue, and then you can schedule your post. It tells you whatever day you want to put it, whatever time, hit done, and then this button becomes schedule. See how over here, if you're sharing real time, it was share. Over here now, it's just schedule. So it's a really, really great way to like save time and get ahead of yourself. So are we feeling okay on that slide? Are we ready to move on to reels and video? Okay, I think so. Cool. Alrighty. Oh, sorry, one more thing. So after you posted, right? This is important too. You can pin 3 posts on your feed. So if you want to just press and hold and you can pin them, or you can, pin them in the back end. Basically, this just shows up as the top 3 things people are going to see when they first come to your page. So maybe you have a feature project or event or something, and it's all chronological, so it gets pushed to the bottom. So you want it to be pinned at the top, you just pin it there and it makes it super nice and easy. So another thing we're going to talk about later is insights, and then archive. Let's say you don't want that post anymore. You just come into edit and then archive, and it goes away off of your grid. Nobody can see it, but it's still accessible if you ever wanted to bring it back. If you go over here, edit, that's where you can rearrange those slides. So remember how I said that's a new feature? Instagram just started letting us rearrange the slides. So if you hit edit, you can physically drag these guys, all your carousel slides, to be a new order, whatever order you want. It'll change the first slide to a different picture if that's what you want, and then hit done. The other thing you can do, which is really helpful, is adjust preview. So click that, and Ruth, this could be helpful for you too, actually, with the getting specific about the kind of preview you want. So this like grayish square in the back was my full image. You can kind of see like a ghosted image. This brighter, clear image is the preview that's going to show on my grid. So I just take with my fingers and pinch like this and make it, drag it out. So I say, okay, instead of this full image, I want it to be a little bit more cropped in just on this. And that changes the preview that I see from my main grid. So that's just a nice like way to customize your grid once you've already posted. Another thing you can do is add products if you are selling products. So I just did this just to show you it's not actually, I don't have it like listed or anything, but you just hit here, product details. It lets you add a name for the product, a price, and then this is how it will show to a viewer when they see your page. They'll be like, oh, wait, that's for sale. I can buy it. So just a cool thing if you're selling stuff. Okay, cool. So now we're coming into the edit.
Arabella, what did boost post mean on the bottom, on the right there, on what does that do?
Yeah, so that's if you want to start running ads for your post. So
Oh,
it's you like it tells you it's like, oh, you can, start promoting this particular post, and it'll give you, a schedule of fees, and like if you want to give it $5 a day or whatever. So it will give you the option like on a lot of posts if that's something you want to do. I don't really go into that. I don't do that kind of stuff myself. It works for some people, but yeah, I don't really do that. So I just ignore those. That's a good question. Okay, cool. So here we're going to talk about reels, right? Which are videos. Now you can edit them in a whole bunch of different apps, but we're going to specifically talk about the Edits app, which is made by Instagram, just because it's super integrated with the app itself. So it's free, which is amazing. When you download the video from the app, you can download the full thing with no watermark, which is also amazing because there's a lot of other free video editing apps that will give you a big old watermark across the screen, and it's just horrible. So you can do all the things. You can do photo, video, text, voiceovers. It actually lets you even view insights, engagement from the app, which is really helpful. So here's just a quick like dashboard of when you open the app, these are all your projects. So you can name the projects. I was like, okay, I named this one mini paintings. If you click this plus button, it lets you create a new project. You can either record in app with the camera or like I like to do, go to my photo album gallery. So that's this screen, these little boxes, that just is like your projects. Over here, it gives you ideas. So if you want to look at all the audio you saved, right? It's going to show up here. It's going to show you those same metrics so you know, okay, this is trending. So that's just like cool stuff that you can do as you're building. It has another tab for inspiration and templates. So it's basically a Reels tab where you get to just scroll through, see Reels that are happening. And let's say I saw this one and I liked the template. I liked the format. So I can actually use that template. I hit use template and this page opens up. And this lets me insert, you see down here, add, 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 add. I get to add all of my video clips or images. This is the song that was originally with this, but I can change it if I don't like it. And then this is the text on screen that was originally with it. I can change the text, the color, the size, the font, anything. But something about maybe the timing or the timing with the song I liked about that template. So that's why I wanted to use it. It's just an easy peasy way to like just drag and drop your content in without like doing any heavy editing. Okay. So this, I actually just posted for this presentation. I made a little video in the Edits app, and so that's what we're looking at here. This is like the back end of what it looks like. And I know it might look a little crazy with all these layers, but it's essentially you have your main video track over here, and then everything else is like an overlay. So it's just like layering on top. And so you have your text that's layered on top. You have your captions if you're doing a voiceover. I always say if you're doing a voiceover, it's good to auto-generate the captions. You see right down here, it says captions. So if you're speaking in the video, hit that and it'll automatically put words on the screen for what you're saying. Because a lot of people watch videos with the sound off. And so they want to like physically like read what you're saying, which is super helpful. So you get to also, like we were talking about colors and all the fun font stuff before, you can choose the fonts that you like to use and save them. You can choose your colors. You can choose animations if you want to like have the font like running across the screen or like a burst or something. And then the individual videos, you can really get super, super specific with each video. If you want to edit the color, if you want to clip only the certain piece of the video, if you want to have it zoom in all of a sudden using like keyframes, you can get so in depth with that. Obviously, we can't go into all of that today, but it's just really great to explore. If this looks interesting to you at all, I would definitely recommend playing around with it, maybe seeing a specific tutorial, but the features in this free Instagram app are pretty amazing, I have to say. So how are we feeling with this? Do we want to have any questions about like Reels for now? Videos, editing, that kind of stuff?
Do they provide a lot of tutorials on how to do things? Like videos to watch, or is it more like reading, stuff?
Um, yeah, I think I don't really think there probably is reading. I would honestly just look on the app itself for tutorials. I think probably there are so many creators out there who
Mm,
have tutorials, or YouTube honestly is the best place for tutorials because you can pause it and you can like
cool.
follow along. That's how I do it. I put it on like half speed and I just slowly go along and follow the steps. So yeah, that's probably what I would do.
That's good. Yeah.
How do you find the Instagram Edit app? Where is that to download?
Yeah, so it would be in your app store.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's within the same like Instagram suite, but it is a separate app. So you would just go into the app store, type in edits, and then it's that like that purple, it's kind of the Instagram colors, but with a chop through it. So it's like that's the icon that you look.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And then I think it's
This
pretty easy to link to your page.
So I
Sorry.
just wanted to say I just started using edits and I find it very easy. Like it's very intuitive. And you could just like poke around and see what everything does and kind of figure it out that way. It's not hard.
Totally. Yeah, no, I'm so glad that you like feel that way too. It is like you said, you just like play around with it and experiment. And one thing I will say to your point is back on this main slide, you see how we have all the different, these are all just the random videos I've made recently. If I wanted to, let's say I liked the edits I made for one of them, but I really don't want to mess it up. So I press and hold, and then I can duplicate it. So I make an exact copy of that video with all the text and adjustments and edits. So then I can mess up that one copy as an experiment and not mess up that original one just in case it goes south. You know what I mean? So that's just another cool way to experiment with it. And it is fun. The whole point is like it should be fun and like enjoyable. So like don't, just like try to enjoy it and don't be like hard on yourself like to yeah, make stuff. Um so just one other thing I do want to say is like when you're putting text on the screen, these are the general places I like to keep the text. It keeps the bottom free because there's like other bars on the bottom and the top as well. This is a good spot right here to do the title of your video or a hook if you're doing some sort of hook. If you're doing a video of your face, like you talking, this is kind of about where your eyes want to be, just as reference. Like, so maybe your head is like here. And then if you're doing captions for a voiceover or something like that, you might want to have your captions here towards the bottom, but not too low. So you can adjust and make a cover photo for your reel. So that's just going to be the photo that shows up on your grid for that video. Now, it lets you choose any still from that video, but sometimes the action might be blurry or it just might look weird. So you may want to just upload a photo yourself. So what you'll do for that is you click add from camera roll, pick any photo from your camera roll, and then in that same way that we adjusted the preview on our carousel, we get to come over here and pinch and drag and move the image, right? Because the reel is the full tall ratio. It's the 9:16 ratio, but our preview is going to be that 3:4 ratio. So this gets to, give us an idea of how it's going to look on the grid. And again, we can always change this, always adjust it later so you're not locked into anything. So when you're done, you hit done. And just some things to think about that, some people like to do is how do you hook the person when they're first seeing your reel? We all have such short attention spans now. So you have like, I think people say like 2 seconds to like catch somebody's attention, which is kind of scary. So, just think of like, okay, what would be a cool scroll stopping visual to grab somebody? I see we're like getting kind of close time-wise, so I just want to be like respectful and mindful of everybody's time. Um, so I might go a little quick through some of these things if that's okay. Um, so camera settings, this I will say is very important actually. In your phone, the actual settings for your camera, you want to make sure that the quality is high enough that the video is not going to be pixelated, especially if there's any fast action. If you're running across a soccer field, you want a higher resolution. Frames per second just means like as if the camera were to click, 1 frame, 2 frame, 3 frame. So 60 frames per second is pretty good versus 30 frames per second. It's less clicks, so the motion is going to be like choppier. This is a pretty good mid-range that I would keep your settings on, just for a crisp video, but not something that is so high resolution that it's going to take up all of your storage, because if that's happened to me before, it's very scary. Um, Also in your settings, make sure this is turned off. HDR, it will make the color weird. It's just like, just toggle this off and everything will be better. You can also, in that edits app, like we were saying, you can adjust the resolution if you want to adjust it there. And then these are just some things, again, in my camera settings that I like to have on. I like to have a grid so I can see, kind of where things line up in the screen, a level so I know is my phone like tilted or is it good? These are just some like general kind of housekeeping settings to keep your camera on. And so then these are analytics. And I'm not going to go into all this because it's like you really could spend days and days and days analyzing things. But I just want you to know that once you've posted something, it's possible for you to see how it did and to kind of get some insight onto maybe what to do next and what worked, what needs adjusting. So this is in your dashboard. Everybody's dashboard can look a little bit different depending on your account type, but just try to find your dashboard and then insights. You can look for a specific date range. You can say, okay, what were the views? What were the interactions within that date range? How many new followers did I get? You can look for a specific, this is like I said, okay, I want to look at views. So it breaks it down. The pink is views from followers, the purple is views from non-followers. So it's like, okay, something went right that got in front of people who didn't follow me. Let's try to figure out what that was and replicate it, right? It breaks down your audience so you know, okay, these are the people who follow me. This is where they're hanging out. These are the towns. These are the countries. These are the age ranges. Are they mostly guys or mostly girls, you know? So it's just cool if you care, if you want to look at it, or if you're figuring out that target audience, it's just helpful to have these things, but don't feel like you have to go crazy analyzing this. You totally don't have to. It's just there as a tool if you want it. And like I said, it can break down per piece of content. So if I want to look just at this one reel, how did that reel do? I can see how many likes, shares, saves, whatever. You can see when people liked it, at what point in the video, all the different things, how many people like skipped it. So I'll be like, oh, maybe that wasn't a very good, portion. I should have got to the point quicker, whatever that may be. So I know that's probably a lot and like, just explore it just for fun. It's nothing's gonna go crazy. Um, so then one of the last things I want to talk about is content batching. So now you've got your roadmap, you know what value you want to give, you know who you're talking to, you know what you want for your art, which you already knew. But how do you put that all together with those content pillars that we talked about, those topics that you're going to kind of try to touch on in your videos? So, what I really, really would recommend so that you don't have to be sitting down every day thinking, what do I post? Is choose once a week to schedule your content and create it for the week, schedule it, and then forget about it. So, to your question earlier, how many times do you want to post a week? Totally, totally up to you. I recommend maybe 3 posts a week if that feels right. You could do 2 carousels and 1 reel. If you want to do a story a day or not, that's fine. Whatever it is, just keep it consistent for you and your rhythm so that you know you can keep up with it and feel good and not get burnt out like, oh my God, I haven't posted. Like, don't worry about it. Do 1 post a week if that feels better, you know? So sit down, schedule it out. This is just a little like pretend schedule. So let's say, okay, I'm going to post Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday this week. Tuesday, I'm going to do a carousel. The topic, I'll show people pages from my sketchbook. What content pillar does that fall under? Well, I guess that would fall under like my behind the scenes process. And so, what actually is it going to be? It's going to be photos of my sketchbook or my notes or ideas or whatever. Thursday, maybe I went to the city. So I don't know, I'll do a spend a day in the city with me. The content pillar for that is the things that inspire me, right? Because it was a cool, inspiring trip. So you can show the photos and videos of your trip or whatever you did, whatever inspired you. And then you can do maybe you want to on Friday do a reel. So go show the people the projects you made that week or that month, right? So your content pillar for that would be current projects. So show the shots of you working, progress shots, finished shots, whatever it may be. Like I said, sprinkle some stories throughout the week. And another thing I really find so helpful is if you can save in your camera roll B-roll. Make a folder for clips that you can use and reuse in different videos for different contexts because then you're not shooting a video of the sunset every time you need a video of the sunset. You just have that cool sunset video and you snap it right in there and nobody knows, like nobody's paying that close attention. So it's just going to make it so, so, so much easier for you. Um, these are a couple tools that I like that I some of them I may have mentioned. Canva, we talked about, is really great for like graphic design. Notion is what I plan my content in and just try to plan my life in. Lens Buddy is really great as a self-timer app. I'm pretty sure this one's free as well. If you don't have somebody to take pictures of you, you just set up your camera and you just have a great self-timer. You can choose how many pictures you want, whatever. Snapseed is another photo editing app if you're not happy with the one on your phone. And then Frame Grabber, I think this one might cost a couple dollars, but it's like a one-time purchase. It's definitely worth it. If you're taking a video and you want to take screenshots of that video, doing it on your phone won't make the picture high resolution, but this app is specifically designed for that. It gives you high resolution pictures of videos. So it's super helpful, easy tool. So that's about that. Um, I know that was a lot, and I'm sorry for rushing through it at the end, but does anybody have like any sort of questions or anything that I should cover a little bit more?
I do, Arabella. So you say do, let's say you're doing a carousel on th Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday and Thursday, and let's see, yeah, and then a reel. And then you're
Mhm.
saying sprinkle it with stories throughout.
Yeah.
Well, do you ever put do you include like the carousel that you made as a story?
Oh, totally. You totally
Okay,
could.
so,
Yeah,
so
that's a
that's
great. Yeah,
yeah,
you totally could. You could share after you've shared that carousel on your main feed, you can share it to stories, which is great. Or let's say you have some of those images from the carousel already saved on your phone, right? So maybe what's even better, and Instagram kind of thinks of it more as authentic, like original content, is you already shared that image as a carousel, but you have that original image. Just share that image to your story. And
right.
it's you already have it ready to go. Um, but and then it's just another thing. So you can align your stories with what you've already posted for the week, or they can be totally off topic or a combination. But yeah, that's a great point. Is like you can totally share posts you've made to your stories to get like more views.
Great. I just want to say, Arabella, you were great with this explaining. I do have to say, if I didn't know a little bit about Instagram, I think it helps me. But you've pointed out a lot of things that I wasn't aware of. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad it was helpful. And there's so much out there, and it's like, putting it all together in 1 hour, it's really hard to like get super in depth. But I hope at least this was a helpful overview. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Does anybody else have any questions?
No questions?
I think so.
I do want to mention that if any of you are posting stories, feel free to share your stories with Acor and we'll promote it in our stories. So please, Arabella takes advantage of that for some of her clients, and we do that. I don't know if they're still on. Claudia and Peter Cheney do that as well. There's a lot of members who are taking advantage of that. So please feel free to do that. And Arabella, I'm going to send your deck out with my follow-up email. And people can contact you for, I see you're doing one-on-one coaching.
Yeah, so I do just little sessions with, sometimes people want a little bit of extra help in like a certain area of content creation or, doing their website or email list or Canva, stuff like that. So I do have that like available if people are interested in it. Or you can always just send me a DM too, like on Instagram or email me. And if there's like a little thing, I'm always happy to, give a quick answer.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you